Box Free with Stephanie. Today I want to show you how to make some basic foods with simple ingredients from scratch. And I hope you discover cooking box free is fast and delicious. So let's cook together. Today we're making walnut rugelach. There's some walnut and brown sugar rugelach to be specific. But it's a very traditional Jewish dessert, originally from like Eastern European countries and things like that. So I saw it in this magazine and thought it sounded delicious, and so I made it, and I have loved it and make it a lot at Christmas time. I don't necessarily think it's just a Christmas dish, but I like to make it at Christmas time. So I'm starting in my food processor, and I have tried this with a hand mixer, and it's possible, but it's just really hard on your mixer. So you can do it if you don't have a food processor, but just be ready to have your mixer be like, just like working so hard. It's not very happy, but it did work. Okay. Anyway, so I use my food processor, and I'm only making one that's like the size of one pizza. So it makes, I think, like 12 pieces or whatever. And that's just because I like to make just this one small batch. But it's very much easy to double the recipe. So I'm starting with 1 stick of butter, or half a cup, 4 ounces of cream cheese, and both of these have been sitting out for like an hour to get to room temperature. They can't be hard, otherwise it definitely won't work. So you want those to be at room temperature. And then to this you add 1 tablespoon of sugar. And wait, do I add that now? Yes. Okay, 1 tablespoon of sugar and just a little bit of salt. Basically a 1/4 teaspoon. So we're going to call it like that. Okay. All right, and then we're going to pulse this and then add our flour. This is like the fastest part, of course. Oops, turn that on. Now the one problem of doing a small recipe like this is that, and maybe my butter is just not super soft, is that I don't have a lot of quantity in my food processor, so it doesn't always want to just whip it all together. But I'll just wait. My butter is getting stuck. Maybe it just was too hard. So maybe butter needs to be out. Whoa, 2 hours ahead of time. Just gonna pulse it a little bit to get that broken down. Okay. You really just want these blended, and I have 1 itty bitty thing of butter that's still in there, so I got to get rid of it. Okay, that looks better. Okay, so now we're just going to add, where's my 1 cup? 1 cup of flour to this, and then pulse that to make like this sticky little dough. And then this kind of takes a while because you have to make the dough and then you have to chill it. But it's worth it because this cream cheese dough with this walnut brown sugar filling is just so good. They're really nice and soft and really yummy. Okay, so let me just pulse this to make a little dough. You can see where it's like going around, all of a sudden it's like that's when it's kind of the flour has been worked in. Now there's just like one big blob going around. So that's pretty much it. All right, so now all I'm going to do is take this out. So normally you make 2 balls, but because I only do like a smaller recipe, I really just need one ball or 1 disc. So I'm going to chill this in my fridge for like 2 hours. So I need a decent size piece of saran wrap. Oh, because if you did this right now, like this is so soft and sticky, and with this cream cheese like dough, it would just be a total mess. You'd have to add so much flour that your whole dough would change consistency, I bet. So, but it's worth the wait. It's okay. And it's really kind of so easy. This part is so easy. So it's just the time that's kind of the issue. And that's all right. We have time, right? Just plan ahead. Oh, and you can actually make this, you could do this, I guess, like days ahead of time. I thought it was, I was like, where's my spatula? Oh my gosh, it's gonna scrape it off. I thought you had to make it like the same day, but you really don't have to. So you could make this a day or two ahead and then stick it in the fridge and then pull it out on the day or the time that you're actually ready to make it. And I'm pretty sure you can freeze this dough also, which would be kind of handy. But so I'm not really going to try to mess with it much because it's just so sticky. So all I'm going to do is kind of take my saran wrap and almost make it into a little disc with that because it's so sticky. I'm not going to get very much luck with my hands, but I do want to try to get most of the air out. So like that kind of. You just make a nice little round disc like that. That's what you're going for. So it doesn't look like very much dough because it isn't. So again, easily double the recipe if you want to. But I'm going to pop this in the fridge for at least an hour and a half, probably 2 hours, and then we'll come back and we'll roll it out and we'll finish our rugelach. All right, we'll be back. Okay, we are back. It's been almost 2 hours and my little disc is nice and cold. So we'll hope that it all comes out and rolls nicely. I'm gonna get a little bit of flour because I don't want my dough to get dried out with too much flour, but I do need to have a little bit so it doesn't stick. Oh, and I'm rolling it on this little flexible cutting board because I know this is 11 inches across and I'm going for an 11-inch pizza or disc right now. And then I just have to cut it so much, so I don't necessarily want to cut it right onto my cupboard. I'm all paranoid now that my mom told me that I can actually cut my counter. Like, I never really thought about that. Okay, so anyway, if you have a pastry board or whatever, or just a marble cutting board, you don't have to worry about it. So we're gonna see, oh boy, how much this will roll out. And this is gonna be really a pain because this is the first year that I've made this on this little board like this. I usually just do it right on my countertop and then I don't have this thing moving around. So I think it's gonna be a real pain, but we're just gonna have to make it work. Okay, so see how it is really soft and it's rolling out quite nicely. And I just want to keep it rotating because I want, that's sticking out funny. I want a nice circle. But it's really like perfect temperature because you want it to be cold enough so that it rolls out, but not so hard that you have to like work like a maniac to make it happen. But this is working out pretty good here. So my little measuring device here, my 11 inches, is working pretty good. And I don't have a lot of flour, so I'm hoping it's not going to stick. I'm going to add just a little more because, see, I don't want it to stick like that. So I'm going to add just a touch before I get too far down the road. Okay, so where am I? I'm almost at 11 inches. Okay, so my recipe says like you're supposed to like take a dinner plate and put a dinner plate on top of here and like cut off all the edges and make it perfectly round. I'm just like, wow, that seems a little bit crazy. Where you can just kind of tuck it all in like this and make it basically perfectly round. I mean, my goodness, rugelach can be a little bit rustic rugelach. So there you go. Okay, that's it. That's what you're going for. This is basically 11 inches. So I'm assuming that's 11 inches because I got a pretty decent disc. All right, then what you need to do is brush this with egg. Whoopsie, I just stabbed my dough. Did you see that? Jeepers. Okay, that's all right. So you just take an egg and you just beat it really quickly because you don't want to put just the yolk or just the white. You kind of want it all on there. So you just take this, and some people add like water, milk, or cream to their egg wash. I guess I just never have. I don't know, I just feel like I hardly ever use the whole egg anyway, so I don't really want to even thin it down and get more egg wash. But actually, you know what? If I was doubling this, then one egg would be probably just about enough. Okay, so I got to fix my fork hole there where I jabbed it. Okay, then, you know what? Hang on. I'm going to chop my nuts first because once I put my egg wash on, I want my filling to be ready to go. And it's not quite ready. So this is 1/2 cup of walnuts. And these are, you know, way too big to put on there. See, like that, that's too big. So I'm just going to chop them really quickly. And you can make these kind of as fine as you want, but I think you want them pretty fine because you're gonna roll this up. Looks like a little crescent roll almost. So the bigger your walnut chunk is, the like chunkier your Rugelach roll is. And I guess that's okay, but, oh, there's my oven. All right, so I preheated to 350. Anyway, so I think it's worth the extra 20 seconds to just kind of go through and chop it all. And maybe my egg sitting on my dough for those minutes would have been fine, but I feel better having it ready. Okay, so now I'm going to bring this back. Now I'm going to brush it with, I'm done with my flour. I'm going to brush it with my egg wash. And you could just use, whoa, holy smokers, look at that. Got like a whole egg white blob. I was gonna say you could use your hands, and like I should use my hands right now because I have so much on here. Yeah, this is kind of why you wanna beat it nicely. I'm gonna see if I can just scoop up this whole entire, look at that blob. He's going right back in. Okay, it probably would have been fine, but whatever. I'm taking it off. All right, there's my egg wash, and this again is to basically make your walnut and your brown sugar stick to it. So I'm going to sprinkle my walnuts on here, and you are just evenly spreading it around. And I gotta get every little bit because it's just gonna be really good with all these walnuts. And you can see, like, I chopped these, I thought pretty fine, but like, you know, it's plenty big. The chunks are plenty big, I'm saying. So yeah, you definitely don't want to do a coarse chopping on this. Okay, so that is your half a cup of walnuts. Now I need a 1/4 cup of brown sugar, and then I just sprinkle that on, and then the fun part comes. It's kind of a fun thing to make. And this would be a good thing for the kids to make too in a minute. Well, this would be too, sprinkling it on there. You can't go wrong. So have them add all this fun stuff. And that's it. Oh, and then this you can add like anything. You could do chocolate, I've seen, cherry, apricot preserves are very popular, I guess. I think the walnut brown sugar, I think, is the traditional Rugelach, but I'm not really sure. But I know there are lots of variations. You could put anything you wanted. So like if you don't like walnuts, hey, just do something else, like, you know, cherry preserves or dried cherries, apricot reserves. Oh, my preserves, not reserves. Oh my gosh. Anyway, all right, I better focus on what I'm doing here. Pizza cutter. All right, so this is where you are going to try to make 12 pieces. So I'm going to just cut right down there, cut down here, and then see if I can do this nice and evenly. And then you roll these up and you bake them, and they're just the most adorable and delicious things. Whoopsie, I totally missed my center on that one. Oh well. Okay, so now we roll and put on our cookie sheet. So I am using parchment paper. I don't very often, and I usually don't even when I make this, but some of that filling comes out and it gets really sugary, that, you know, caramelized sugar, so it gets really sticky, I'm saying. So I'm going to use this today just to try to make it easy. And then you just take the outside and you just start rolling it up like that. And you have this gorgeous looking thing. And then you put the little seam down, okay, so that it doesn't like spread out. And you can kind of pull this away if you want, but you really don't have to. But I'm going to grab that walnut before he falls off of there. So you just roll it up. And this would be something that kids could do because, again, you can't really mess it up. I mean, this dough is a little forgiving, so if you do something wrong, you just reshape it. I mean, it's like a sugar cookie dough. You know, there are cream cheese sugar cookies out there, so it's basically what it is. But this is it. Here's my middle that I chopped twice. That's all right. We'll just hide that on the bottom. So because I didn't cut it like perfectly perfect because I'm a human being, you get some of these that are little, like look at these two, like one's really big and one's really little. And that's okay. That totally doesn't matter. It gives it more character. So you just roll these up. And I think they're just delicious. Although I have to say, I don't think I've ever made anything but the brown sugar and walnut, because that's what I just love. But I think I do want to try the chocolate, well, and the apricot. That sounds really good too. But I'm kind of, oh, I was going to push this down. That's right, I was thinking I should push it down in there, but you know what, my stuff isn't coming out, so I guess it's okay. I was reading how somebody else like pushes their walnuts into the dough, but I don't really think you need to, but you can if you feel better about it. That's okay. All right, 3 to go. Ooh, this is a big one. All right, I'm going to put him in my other corner so he gets more bake time. If you have something big like this, you can put it on the outside or the corner of your cookie sheet, and then it just kind of gets more heat than like these littler, the ones on the inside don't get quite as much because it's in the middle and stuff. So just a little tip, if you have a really big monster, you can put them on the edge. All right. Okay, so now you could just let it be like that and bake them as is, but because I have all this egg with a huge glob of white, I'm going to try to avoid that. I'm going to just do a very light egg wash on these because egg washes just make everything look so brown and golden. So I'm going to do just a very fast, like I said, I don't always do this, but I don't know, it's kind of fun to paint them on there. You could have the kids do this too, because whatever, you can't get too much egg wash on there. They're just egg, you know, so, but anyway, you don't have to do this step is what I'm saying. You can, but you totally don't have to. Okay, that's it. Like, it's pretty fast. So now I'm going to pop them in the oven, and they're going to bake for like 20 minutes. I'm going to check them. This is a cookie that you want to be soft, so you really don't want to overbake it, which is probably why the egg wash is a good idea, because if you kind of underbake it, it won't get golden, but with the egg wash, it should get golden. So anyway, I'm gonna come back in 20 minutes and we're gonna check it out. All right, I'll see you soon. Okay, we are back and ready to take our rugelach out of the oven. It's been pretty much exactly 30 minutes. So, watch out, puppy. I'm going to take these out. So they're still not like dark golden, but that's okay. I want them to be like a nice light golden. I don't really want them very dark. And see how all the buttery stuff comes out, all that caramelized sugar. So that's kind of why I do the parchment paper sometimes, but they also work on just a plain cookie sheet. It's just fine. So I should let them cool for just a minute, but I'm gonna try to get this one right here that has very little of the caramel, because I like to let this caramelized stuff kind of sit on here, and then when I'm not using parchment paper, it seems like it hardens, and then I can just like pick the whole thing up and it has like this little paddle of caramelized sugar just stuck to it, you know, that just stays there. So I'm gonna let them sit for a minute, and I'm gonna, oh, try this, it's just so hot. So these are such a yummy cookie, and I just think they look so pretty and fancy. But I was thinking, like, if you're gonna make these, I guess 12 really isn't very much, so you might wanna double the recipe and actually get 24. But I have given these as gifts. They're really nice gifts to give because they're unique and, you know, just a general cookie that isn't anything too crazy. So, all right, I'm gonna cut this in half, see if we can see the little, so there's the little walnut roll, and I'm gonna take a bite and hopefully not burn my tongue, but it's really, just smells really good. Hot. Ooh. So they're very much like a shortbread cookie because they're not like a sweet cookie. So I think if you did like a apricot jam or cherry jam or strawberry jam, any kind of jam, I think that would add a lot of sweetness. So if your family prefers sweeter cookies and things that are just sweeter in general, you might want to do like a jelly. And I have actually seen recipes with like apricot jam and then the walnuts and the brown sugar. So these are something you can just totally manipulate and put in the filling whatever you want. I just don't know what the chocolate is yet. I don't know if you make a chocolate spread and then put it on like a chocolate ganache, or if you just throw chocolate chips on there. I don't know, I'm gonna have to experiment with that one. But this is your walnut rugelach. So I hope you enjoyed the show. Thank you for watching Box Free with Stephanie. I hope you do make rugelach, and I think that you'll love it. I hope your family thinks they're great, or the gifts that you can give them to, people love it. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate your time, and I hope you enjoy the show and the rugelach, and I will see you guys next time. All right, thanks. Bye.